I painted my background and I painted some extra pieces that can be used to make my collage. I also happen to have some plain construction paper, some already painted scraps, some pattern paper, some paper that maybe was used for scrapbooking or something like that. Just kind of some scraps here that I can use as I make my collage. So this piece of paper I will not cut on. This is my background, so I will glue onto this surface. Now my other papers I will cut. Now I want to use a variety of organic shapes in my collage. So if I wanted to, I could draw an organic shape on the back of my paper and then cut it out, or I can just cut right into my paper to create my shape. There really isn't a right or wrong way. It just depends on maybe what you're trying to achieve and what feels better to you. So you may begin by just choosing some shapes, thinking about what you want to layer. I might do this with this on top in a few of my spaces. So I think I'm going to, this green is kind of just reminds me of grass or seaweed or leaves. So maybe those are the types of organic shapes I'm going to use as I create this piece. I might do some leaf type shapes. So I'm going to cut big into here and then turn it around. So I have this large shape. Now I'd like to create a smaller one to go inside of that with this paper here. So maybe what I'll do is I'll trace this on the back, but then I'll make a smaller version that way. So that way I have kind of an idea of the size that I want. Now I could position this into this paper here, whatever looks right to me. And maybe that's gonna go somewhere on this collage. So that's one shape I might repeat. I might do several of them or repeat one over here. Let's see, I also have I think these papers might look kind of nice together and look nice on that background. So maybe I want to do a combination of some sort of rounded square-like shape. So not quite a square, not quite a circle. And then perhaps I want to do another one to fit inside there. And maybe, you know what, that purple one's kind of smaller, so maybe I'll do another one of these to go in between those. And again, I could measure it more so by tracing and using my scissors, or I can just kind of cut and arrange them as I'm cutting them. So maybe these could go somewhere on my page. Right now I'm going to cut out some more organic shapes, and then I'll meet you back here to glue. All right, I have cut out some shapes and glued some of those pieces together. For example, I've glued this green painted paper onto this gray construction paper, and I can start arranging them and thinking about where they might go into this collage. So I can overlap, I can just sort of arrange it, decide what I like. I can move it around if I don't like it. Because I haven't glued it all the way to the paper yet. So perhaps this is something I start with and then I move it around. I can always change it if I change it up before I glue it. I'm gonna do some gluing, and then I'll show you back here for the finished product. Here's my finished abstract organic shape collage, and I just sort of made some leaf-like shapes, some curving shapes, some rounded, imperfect circle shapes. I tried to repeat colors and patterns and shapes. So, for example, I repeated this leaf-like shape here as well as there. That's creating a nice balance on the artwork because we see it over here as well as over here. I repeated this bright orangey painted paper in this, rounded shape there as well as in here, and again in those leaf-like shapes. I added some small little pieces of white to repeat throughout to carry the viewer's eye. So our artwork ends up having color, organic shape, but also it has repetition because we're repeating elements, which creates a rhythm in the artwork as we, see the repetition repeated in the shapes, and also balance. So it's balanced in that we see the same object several times. So it ends up being a nice, complete, and finished composition.